and we are live. The time now is 9 p.m. sharp. It seems so many of my show today seems to be the first show that I am live sharp at 9 p.m. And today is a very special day because today is the first show I have that I am doing this on a Thursday. It's a totally different framework from my normal shows where I normally run my shows on Saturdays. Okay, however, let's try this out and see how's the response. I've done a poll recently about running the show on Thursdays or any of the weekdays, in fact. So I've got some votes, and majority of the vote says that I should do my show on a Thursday night. I guess Thursday would be the best night to do a show. I mean, you guys are you have the time to come and listen. Friday wouldn't be a good day because Friday is the day that you want to go out and party, right? So Monday is a little bit busy, and Tuesday is still busy. So I guess let's do on a Thursday. Thursday is good. So anyway, for those of you who have just joined us, thank you very much for joining, and welcome to My Property Place, the brand new show that is on Thursday. That's right, and I'm your host, Timothy Lau, and I'm sure most of you are supporting me right now. You know who I am. If not, okay, I am Timothy Lau, and I am a owner of a real estate agency. But however, tonight, okay, what I'm going to do is we are going to give you an exciting show. When I say we, because I have a special guest that's in the studio, my so-called studio with me. Okay, and for those of you who are joining me for the first time, My Property Place is a discussion forum where what we do is we talk about anything's got to do with property investment. Okay, property investment, and we cover all topics. To be a little bit more cheeky, I would say I even have a image consultant that will be joining us later down the show, not today, but one of these days, where we're going to talk about how a real estate agent should dress up. So that will be something that people say, oh, is that anything relevant with property investment? Why not? You want to be comfortable with your property agents. So that's what I say. So anyway, today's show is going to be exciting, I promise you, because we're going to bring in someone very, very special. Very special. He's young. He's a he. He's energetic, very good looking, and he's going to promise to give us something very valuable. And for more of that, welcome to My Property Place live chat. Hello, and welcome to My Property Place. And that's my guest here, my special guest, Mr. Ishmael Ho. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Tim. Thank you for having me on your show. I have to say
Yeah.
I really love your intro, your intros. Love the audio.
Yeah, well, I try my best. It's a one-man show, though. I have all my equipments over here. I'm doing all this myself. And for the guests who just joined, see, if I promise you, I have a handsome guest today with me, and that's Mr. Ishmael. Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks, Timothy. Maybe the term handsome could be used maybe 5 years back. I'm not sure if it's applicable today,
Oh,
though.
come on. You still got it, okay? You still got it. Don't worry about that. Okay, Mr. Ismail. Okay, it's okay I call you Mr. Ismail?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so I'm curious about you. Okay, I've seen a lot of your talks. I've read your books, and I've seen, you giving your talks in different platforms and all that. But I've not really, been up close talking to you. Today, we would like to know more about you, right? So perhaps you can tell us more about yourself personally, your life.
Yeah. First, of course, Tim, thanks for today's opportunity. As you mentioned, most platforms, when speakers are given, you are only limited to say maybe about 45 minutes, and people want value in terms of content. Hardly, in fact, I've been speaking on stage since 2013. And I cannot recall one session where the host or the organizer say, Ishmael, I actually want to hear more about you. Well, we can talk about property, but please talk more about yourself. So I was a bit taken aback, and I said, okay, why not? Let's do this. I wouldn't say I'm a very extrovert that love to share a lot about my personal life, but given the platform, let's see what we can touch on
Yes,
today. Yeah?
shoot
Okay.
away.
Yeah. So of course, first thing first, we can see at the bottom right that is a Ho Chin Soon logo. So some of you may know, Ho Chin Soon Research, we have been in the industry for more than 30 years. So myself, I'm actually what you would call a second generation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, second generation to the family business, whatnot. Um, so normally when I always love to start off, it's not by choice, but people have this question. When they look at my name, first thing they say, ini Melayu ke Cina? Ah,
That's right.
in fact, there's this common misconception back in primary school or secondary school. My Malay friends would ask me, kau Islam ke Cina? So that alone is a whole different topic we can talk
Yes.
about. But just based on that, you would know that I am from a mixed marriage. So my dad, because of the whole, you can see there's a surname. So my dad is
Mm.
Chinese, and my mother is actually Malay.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad is from Penang, Penang Lang.
Mm.
Unfortunately, second generation don't necessarily they pick up the dialect. So I can maybe at most say tampuk tampuk,
Ah,
chang that's about it lah. Pang sai.
okay.
Or that's some words.
But
So my dad is
how's your bahasa Malaysia?
nah. So that's the thing. When someone assumes I am non-Malay,
Mm.
I will shift the gear and mula pakai bahasa Melayu untuk cakap lah. So
Ah,
berborak dengan diorang pakai bahasa Melayu. Lepas tu terkejut, kenapa cara dia bercakap bahasa Melayu betul-betul macam orang Melayu?
ah,
Because I spend most of my childhood time at my rumah nenek. So I
ah,
grow up with my relative. So we
yeah.
converse in Malay.
Mm.
So is you could say a big advantage, Tim, when I'm having meeting in a more government owned or government linked company.
Mm.
I conduct the meeting in Bahasa.
Mm.
They feel at ease.
I
Quotation
fully
sign
agree.
very fast.
I fully agree with you because I personally believe because I'm in the sales industry. I fully believe that if you are able to speak multiple dialects and you can speak the dialect that your client is in or your prospects are in, you make them feel very comfortable. The moment you do is you will break down the wall. Kita orang
Yeah.
kata boleh cakap Melayu, cakap je lah, tak kisah. Kita satu Malaysia kan?
Yes. Yes. So it's
Excellent.
like one way to connect faster.
That's
So
right.
coming from a mixed marriage, growing up, primary school, I went to Sekolah Kebangsaan SRJKC, so a Chinese school.
Mm.
Unfortunately for me, my Mandarin is not so good. Linguistically, I'm not that good. So I've always in class, I always get either number one, number two, or number three from
Mm.
the back. From the back.
You
Uh,
took me there.
yeah. So it's like, but of course, I was quite lucky in terms of like mathematics. You can fail some language, but when it comes to math, somehow you just can
Mm.
can manage, right?
It's your thing.
So
It's your thing.
yeah. So primary school, I was in a Chinese school, and then at 13 years old, you go to Sekolah Kebangsaan. Secondary school, I went to
Mm.
Sekolah Kebangsaan. I had the biggest culture shock in my life then. Because then I start seeing, hey, how come the Malays are sitting with their group, and then the
Oh,
Chinese,
I see.
and
They
then
have the
I'll be
clicks. They
like,
have the clicks.
yeah, then
Kan?
I was like, alamak, where do I go? It's
Where do
like,
I sit?
yeah. So without shame, or I'm proudly to say that throughout my high school experience, I'm like this awkward single out guy lah. He's just there. People know about him. He doesn't really belong where. And then and
Okay.
for some reason, because I'm always on my own, those people that find themselves to be the odd one out, they seems to gravitate towards me.
They will grow together with
they,
you lah.
gravitate, they gravitate to me. So I had you could say, interesting high school experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then during college, I was trained in law.
Mm.
So
Yeah, that's what I heard.
so in another life, I'm supposed to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
If you see my name card, it says LLB.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of my friends, colleagues. They are practicing lawyers today.
Mm-hmm.
My LLB is look like busy. So every time I hand out name card, I look like busy on it. Okay,
All
that's
right.
the accent to my LLB. But of course,
Yeah.
being trained in law has its advantages.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you
in
do you, you you use your do you use your knowledge in your business as well?
Oh, yes, yes. It's very helpful. Some businessmen, they are very good businessmen, but the moment you give them wordy documents,
Mm-hmm.
they just don't like to go through. They either get
Yeah.
their staff to or
Yeah.
their consultant to simplify for them. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
mind going through details. I can.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part and parcel of the law training, right?
Well, yeah.
Uh, and we learn to also. I think this one is all university student. You learn to burn midnight oil and try to do wonders
But I
when the
believe you are
exams.
you are very. Do you think do you consider yourself a very technical person?
Yes, okay. So I have different take on that. I
Mm-hmm.
can appreciate technical things. I love sitting down without distraction, uh, being differentiating the black and white.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I know when you talk about business, you need a different type of touch to it.
Yes.
So maybe in the show later we can touch some of the principle that I maintain from the start until today. And
Mm-hmm.
when given the chance, I love to share with my fellow friends
Mm-hmm.
about some of
Mm-hmm.
this business equipment that I hold until today.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that. But we're going to cover that later part when we come to the more serious part of the business. We're still talking about your personal life. Now, I want to ask you because I'm very curious. You told me one time that you are in this, you're a team captain for a very interesting sports. Okay. This interesting sports, okay, for all of you who are listening right now, underwater hockey. Am I right? Did I get it correctly?
Oh yes, exactly.
Now, the first time when Ishmael told me that okay, he is in underwater hockey. Now, underwater and hockey both doesn't even click, doesn't even go anywhere near. It's really cracked my head, and I had to Google for it. But rather than I explain, because I'm going to fumble, I'm going to let Ishmael explain what is underwater hockey.
Okay. First thing first, for those of you that are hearing this for the very, very first time, that mental image, erase because it's not what you think it is. Just erase that one. Every time when we say underwater hockey, people will start to emulate they're holding a hockey stick and they're just trying to figure out how do I
And
play this.
seriously, it's a rough game. It's like rugby with a stick.
Okay, you can put it that way. So of course, the best way for our listeners to actually understand about this underwater hockey is for them to either YouTube or Google it. In fact,
Mm,
a 5 minute YouTube, you will just you know what it is. But generally, what it is basically imagine a pool. So the swimming pool is 2 meters deep. So 2 meters, for perspective, is taller, is deeper than most people.
correct. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Tim, myself, you, we are not even 2 meters. Okay, yeah. So even if you want to stand at the bottom of the pool, you are submerged, still submerged. So the playing field is 2 meter. You wear swimming fin. You have a short stick, just about this length, the stick, and then there's like a puck, like an
Mm.
ice hockey puck, which is the ball. And because of its weight, it sinks all the way to the
So
bottom
they
of the floor.
purposely make the puck to be heavy so it sinks.
That's right. So everything
Oh,
is actually happening at the
underwater.
floor. Yes, at the floor of the pool. So how do you play it? You hold your breath, you go down, and you start to dribble with it. And what
Dribble.
happens when yeah, so what happens when you start losing your breath? So it's a team sport, you pass your teammate. And then you go
Mhm.
up, take your breath, 1, 2 breath, go down. Get the pass, dribble a bit, pass, go up and down. So yeah, it's a constant up and down. So a lot of swimming. A lot of swimming.
Just imagining it, I'm already tired.
Yeah. So just to share a bit how I got involved with this whole underwater hockey in Malaysia, there was no underwater hockey club, association, and whatnot. Nothing, zero. But the sport actually has been around more than 60 years. It was
Wow, I didn't
yeah,
know
it's more
that.
than 60 years. It's not a yesterday
I
or
would have
2 years
thought that
ago
it's
sport.
a brand new invention kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because it sounds so comical. It's crazy. It sounds so comical. You wear a snorkel and a mask, and then you go underwater. So what happened is that this sport was actually originated in UK, England.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So about 60 plus years. What happened is that during the winter, there really isn't much thing you can do. So there
Mm.
was a group of divers. Uh, it was winter, nothing to do. So they one guy put a puck in the water and then took his snorkel, has a stick, and start dribbling with it, and then his teammate come and disturb him, and then it became a
It
sport.
it became yeah.
Yeah, so that was the origin of it. So how was I involved? uh, completing my LLB, my
Mm.
final year, I actually did 1 year overseas.
Mhm.
So I went to Wales, Aberystwyth, went there, and as a student, you will have this sports open day.
Mhm.
So sports open day, you walk around, you shop. All the clubs are recruiting, right?
Mhm.
So I told myself, hey, I came all the way from Malaysia,
Mhm.
coming to a foreign country. I am not going to touch a badminton racket. I'm not going to football. I'm not going to basketball. Nothing. I want something confirm my country don't have.
Uh-huh.
So as I was walking, then I saw there's this lady. She was just standing beside her table booth, wearing full gear and
Mm.
just looking at me. I was like, "What the
Just
hell is it? This is not."
you mean snorkeling full gear?
Yep, full gear snorkel with the stick, with the fins, and just standing there. I was like, "This
Okay.
got to be the weirdest thing," and I gravitated to it. So I went there,
Okay.
signed up, and that's how it happened. I learned. Actually represented my university back in
Mhm.
university days. So after graduation, came back. I searched for it. There was none. Uh,
Nobody's playing that in Malaysia, I believe.
no. So about 5 years back, the closest are actually Singaporeans
Mhm. Oh, they have that
playing.
in Singapore.
Yes, Singaporeans. So the sport is actually played in Singapore, Philippines, Indonesia. So they are ahead of us in that sense.
Ah,
So
okay.
there was like an initiative to do an open day
Mhm.
in Malaysia.
Mhm.
I went for it, and I was the only one that played before. So there was talks about we were playing casual for about 2 years,
Mhm.
and then there was talk, let's bring this sport to the next level. So that was actually what happened. I, together
Mm.
with my committee members, went and do registration, talk to the OCM, the government ministry, sports ministries.
Mhm.
We do engagement, and we got ourselves registered. So there is a Malaysia Underwater Hockey Association,
Mhm.
and of course I was the first president
Mhm.
uh, to get
And
everything registered.
this was like 3 years ago.
So registration was in 2018. Sorry,
Ah.
I mean the effort was 2018.
Mm.
Officially registered early 2019,
Mm.
and at the end of 2019, I took, including myself, 24 athlete, 12 men, 12 women, to represent Malaysia in SEA Games in Philippines.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was another very interesting journey. I think that one team, if you want to talk about that, 1 hour is not enough. So
Yeah, man.
I don't want to burn your your time. But
Yeah.
that is one of the few milestones
All right.
we've done. So for your
Okay.
listener,
Mm.
whoever's
Mm.
that love to swim, wants to try a weird spot, you can search for Malaysia underwater hockey. By all means, I welcome.
But honestly, I googled it, and the moment I saw the hockey stick, I laughed straight.
Yeah, short stick there.
Yes, it's not the long stick; it's a short stick. But it's really funny. So for those of you who just joined us, thank you very much for joining. I saw some of our mutual friends. Ishmael, most of our mutual friends are here. David Cock, David Cock, the lawyer. Okay,
Yeah.
he's with us. Hi Rani, hi GS. Milson, I've got Milson logging in from Singapore all the way. Carol Wong, know you from iAuthor. We
Yes.
met you and your father in iAuthor. Carol is a friend of mine. We are currently partnering to do some other projects together. Damon is going to be in my show next week. He's an interior designer, and we're going to be talking about something very interesting next week, which is the East versus West. I will tell you guys more about it. Very interesting. So anyway, for those of you who join us, this is my guest today here, Ishmael Ho from Ho Chin Soon Research. And he's so gracious to be in the show together with us to share his experience. Right now, we are still talking about his personal life. I'm very keen to know Ishmael Ho as a person, as not just somebody talking about maps on the stage. You always have this image about
Yeah.
Ho Chin Soon. So we're still at the topic about this. I'm rather curious, being a second generation, right? You taking over your dad's business, and then the whole company is like. I mean, I'm going to be very direct with you, right? The whole company is your dad's name, seriously.
Yeah.
And you're
Yes.
going out there, taking over this mantle, right? How does it feel? Does it feel pressure?
Okay. Quite funny. A lot of people use the word pressure. Maybe it's just my personality. I get excited about this. Maybe you want to call it a challenge or whatnot.
Mm.
But let's talk about as you just mentioned, when the company name is Ho Chin Soon, from a strategy point of view, immediately what is the hardest or what is the challenge that we need to tackle? The branding.
Correct.
The branding. So companies, you look at companies, some are maintained by, of course, all companies, everyone do business, your reputation is very important. Some are very corporate, so you
Mm,
can have change of leadership, no
mm,
problem. Now, what about a company that is very personality centric?
mm,
How do you pass the baton?
mhm.
How do you actually have a change or succession plan or change of
Yeah.
leadership? So that we had to really approach it properly.
Mm,
So the branding. So what we've been doing on our side, giving talks, giving sharing session. This is part and parcel of branding.
mm,
Being industry opinion leaders. These are
mm,
the things that we do. We
mhm.
even engage with university students because we know in the future they will be the bosses, the managers.
That's
At the
right.
end of the day, they will come back to the company and say, "Oh, I remember there's this company, Ho Chin Soon Research, that
Mm,
does this type of service." So I have students coming requesting for favors or help, and then when they start their own business, they actually become my client. So it's a long
correct.
term thing. So
Correct.
the branding, there is no shortcut, really no
Mm,
shortcut. So how does it happen? So I joined the company in 2012. Uh, Early 2013, one fine day, my dad just said, "Oh, a friend of mine, he got an event." So that was Warwick Singh. He said,
mhm.
he got event. So you are speaking for 20 minutes. Just look at him. So
Okay.
I have not even joined the industry for 1 year. No, barely about 8 months. I was like, sharing 20 minutes. Okay, fantastic. So that was a very first sharing session, and
But
then
but are you naturally, can you speak on stage naturally, or just went up there, you just close one eye and just do it, or were you prepared?
okay. I don't know about natural. Some people have a knack for
Yeah,
speaking in public.
yeah.
The experience, I would say, for myself, is at the end of the day, as a kid, you look at your parents and you try to pick up their skills you learn from them, right? I
Mm.
think when you look at your son, perhaps you can see a bit or a lot of you in him. As your daughter, maybe a bit a lot in yourself, or you know. But myself, in terms of experience, the one that I can say I was quite proud was during high school.
Mm,
I entered a public speaking competition.
mhm,
I entered a public speaking competition, and my topic was talking about chess,
mm.
the board game
The
chess.
board game chess. Okay.
Yes, and I actually won first place, and I didn't ask for it, but I was very blessed. I think I was a bit pampered. My dad actually bought a PlayStation 2 for me as a reward. So
At
I was
that
like,
time it was like very happening, right?
oh yeah. So there was like one of the D console, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
coming back to the business, the branding is so important. So
yeah.
what we did, again, I mean, continuous branding. So
Mm,
numerous way, it can be
mm,
books. So you will notice some of our recent more books.
mm,
There's my face, there's
mm,
chairman face, Ho Chin
mm,
Soon.
mm.
To the extent that now, Tim, is very normal for people to call me Ishmael Ho Chin Soon. So that is good because the
Yeah, yeah,
brand,
yeah, yeah, yeah. They
you
they
are
relate. They
transferring.
see you. They relate to that. That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Chin Soon is not my name. I
Yeah.
share the same. Of course, I take the surname, but
Mm,
now they start to say Ishmael Ho Chin Soon, or a
mm.
slip of tongue, or
Uh,
so that's good.
but the thing is, right now, Ho Chin Soon has become a household name. Ho Chin Soon, yeah, used to be your dad's name. Now Ho Chin Soon is a household name.
Yeah.
It's just like, when you have instant noodles, you have, certain brands, a very specific brand. You have toothpaste, you have a certain brand. So when we talk about maps in Malaysia, we talk about your brand.
Thank you very much. So let me share a bit of story. It's quite common also. We have this. Let's say, imagine this. We're having a meeting with a developer, for example, in his office.
Mm.
We're talking, and then the client, the boss, he will ask his staff, say, "Hey, go and get the Ho Chin Soon for me." And people, what? You go get my dad? But we understand he meant get
Yeah,
the Ho
yeah,
Chin
yeah.
Soon map.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
go and get the Ho Chin Soon. What? Even Ho Chin Soon himself has experienced that.
Yeah.
The client say, "Go and get Ho Chin Soon." Bro, I'm here. So they relate. So
Mm,
that is we are very blessed in that
mhm.
sense. Yeah.
So that's why that's called brand connection. Yeah, brand connection. Okay, back to you, back to when you take over your dad's business, right? So this whole dad's business of yours is all about maps, all about research, all about education. In fact, I personally love to read maps. When I'm in real estate, right? When I start to market certain townships, or like for example, the last 10 years I've been marketing a township called Cyberjaya. Surely, people out there, you guys know Cyberjaya. So when I started with one condominium that I was about to sell, I took the liberty to get to know. I went to the Majelis Pemandaran Sepang to go and print out a map and study the whole place. Then eventually I come across your maps. I get more information, and eventually I could sell the whole township, the whole ecosystem to someone who wants to buy one single apartment. So that's what I like doing. It's a passion of mine. So that's why I would
Fantastic.
probably understand how you do when you are reading maps and stuff like that, because I find a world of information in maps. So what you guys are doing is amazing, the product information that you provide.
Thank you, thank you. It's so funny. Speaking about business, of course, this 30 plus year, it continuously, what you would say, evolve.
Mm,
But of course, map is our very core base.
mm,
Uh, and over the years, in fact, not many people know. Some of our old clients, they would still remember back then, when before the internet, uh, you to get information who's your tenant in a particular building is not that easy.
mm,
So back then, I think more than 10, 15, 20 years back, we even had a product. Literally, we call it 126 building or something like that. It's
mm,
just building
mm,
and who are the tenant in and
mm,
what's the contact. And that was a product. So
mm.
those were our earlier days, very very humble
and
beginning.
and those days when you got to had to do and find this information, do you actually walk in and go and get this information? Oh
Yes,
man.
yes. So we experience everything. So when agents they tell me stories, sometimes you are not treated so nicely because you just want to get listing or whatnot. You're just there. People sometimes don't want to entertain. We also go through that. We
Mm,
go through that as well. You want to gather data. That is the thing you need to do. Put on a shirt,
mm.
go down the site, and start your work. So we've done that as well.
Mm. A little bit about the history of, I know probably your dad will know this better. I don't know if you can tell. But a little bit of history of Ho Chin Soon, right? When he goes way back when he first started, your dad was a valuer, and then he got into this map business. What actually inspired him want to start this company to do something like this, this kind of information based business?
Okay. So, for example, Tim, you are
Mm,
very familiar with Cyberjaya, right?
mm, mm.
Say someone asks you about Putrajaya, you can still answer because it's nearby.
Yes.
Then suddenly someone asks you about Rawang, then you'll be
Mm,
like, oh wait, I maybe need to do my site inspection. Then
mm,
suddenly someone asks you about Kinrara.
mm,
Someone asks you about Semenyih.
mm,
And then it starts to get out of your comfort zone. I say, oh, I haven't been there for like so long, and the last time I got there. So to understand how the whole thing started is that Ho Chin Soon, he was a valuer. In fact, he is still a property valuer.
mm,
So people love to ask values.
mm.
Yourself as an agent, if people know you are expert in particular area, they will start, hey, what was the going
Yes,
market
that's
now?
right.
What's the best
That's
square
right.
foot?
That's right.
Every day, right?
Mm,
So back then when he's being asked about land values in different areas, he was like, can you imagine if there was a magical thing that I can immediately refer? I give you the answer. I
mm,
refer, I answer. You ask, I refer, I answer.
mm,
So it's not like you ask, I say, wait, I go do my site inspection, I do my report, I write down, this is the value.
mm,
So he cut all that by let's just do a map, put in a lot of information,
mm,
and when you have question, do. So this is a bit funny. Maybe it's
mm,
over the years, when you do consultancy work, for example, like potential client, developers or corporate, they have question, right?
mm.
So they want to engage you to write report. As a young man, I love doing that. One of the reason, of course, you can invoice people.
Mm.
Beautiful, right? But my dad, he don't really like that. You ask a question, he say, "Let's look at on my map." I answer you. That is his
Ah.
style.
Mm-hmm.
He love it like that.
Mm.
Um, I think as a businessman, he appreciates speed.
Okay.
Speed. Sometimes your listing or, for example, your experience, whether you close that client or not, sometimes it's just a matter of speed.
Mm.
Among other things, speed is so important. So that's how Ho Chin Soon Research started.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want to facilitate information as easy as possible.
But honestly speaking, the world of business is all about information. It is all about data. The more data, the more information you have, the more power and value you have. So I guess we are revolving around this industry where whether you're in real estate business, whether in mapping business, we collaborate, and that's how we can get the business flowing. A big building can start from an idea that can start from the data that's provided, and it eventually becomes the final result. That's what all this data can do, right? For those of you who just joined us, we are currently talking about Ho Chin Soon and what do they do and how did they come up with this idea to start this business about mapping and data and information. I have some of more friends joining. We have Haide. Haide is my very, very good friend from my BNI chapter, Miracle. Um, uh, Haide is a valuer, and he has been also providing a lot of information to me about a lot of properties and stuff like that. We have Dr. Kwe. Dr. Kwe is very, very uniquely. Dr. Kwe is a friend of mine from BNI also, and his job is a mosquitologist. Interesting. Okay, he do research on mosquitoes, and of course he provide the pest control materials and stuff like that. So hello, Dr. Koi. Hi there. Thank you for joining us. So now what we are moving on right now is we've spoken about Ishmael's personal life, about where he go to school, his favorite sports, and also what his inspiration to go into this business, and also what he's doing. In the next 30 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to spend some time to talk about the business, the maps, and the information that we can provide. But before that, before we go into that, I would like to thanks to Ishmael Ho. Okay, I've got this book. Okay, it's called the Kuala Lumpur 2020 and Beyond, and you can see Ishmael and his dad over here. Okay, and that's behind there is TRX Building. Okay, this book was I think published last year. Was it 2019?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, late last year. Yeah.
2019. Okay, so now I've got 5 of these books. I'm going to give these books out tonight. And for all of you listeners out there, if you are interested to have a what do you call it, complimentary copy of this book, okay, I need you to answer some very simple questions. For those of you who can answer, the first person to answer the question that I asked you, I'm going to give out one now. Okay, so remember, this is the book I'm going to give out. So for those of you who are online listening right now, let me ask a question about about Ishmael, about stuff that he does. Okay, he was a team captain for a sports. Okay, team captain for a sports. Can anyone, the first person can answer me, what is the sport that Ishmael was in when he was in his university, and he brought the sports back to Malaysia? We'll get this book. Okay, we'll get this book for free. So anyone can give me an answer right now. I'm gonna give you this book immediately. Guys, anyone? Come on. Type in the chat box. The first person that give me the answer, I give you this book. Okay. Come. There's a bit of delay, but I can see someone typing. GS, you got it half right. Okay, you got it half right. Come on, GS. What is the right answer? Can you come back again? See, he's showing. He's showing. What is that? Come on, you're giving the answer, Ishmael. Can anyone give the answer? That's right. Sandra, you got it right. Hi, Sandra. You got it right. Underwater hockey. Is Sandra your friend?
I'm pretty sure we would have some common friends and
All right, Sandra, thank you very much. You got the right answer. Okay, and after the show, I'll get in touch with you to send the book back to you. Congratulations, Sandra. Okay, for those of you who join us, Sharon, water hockey is half right. It's underwater hockey. Ice hockey. Come on, GS. That's a different show, GS. Okay, so we just covered the personal life of Ishmael. Okay, and for the next segment of our show, we are going to be covering on the business aspect of Ho Chin Soon and the services they provide and the kind of data they can provide. Okay, for more of this, welcome to My Property Place live chat. Okay, for those of you you're still with us, thank you very much for joining us. I have my guest here, my special guest, Mr. Ishmael Ho here from Ho Chin Soon. He's a CEO of Ho Chin Soon. He's a proud daddy of one and coming one. Okay, so you're gonna be a proud dad. Congratulations for that.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It feels so surreal even going through after the first one, second one coming, end
Ah,
of God willing, either end of this month or early next month. Yeah,
okay.
we just had a check today,
Mm-hmm.
and the now it's on a weekly basis, and the doctor told us, wait, did I check the weight properly? So it's about currently she's 2.9 kg, so it's a bit of
Okay.
a big baby. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay. So you're going through the new daddy thingy. So I've been through that stage. Right now, my kids are about going through teenager. I'll just mention to you that I'm going through the teenager part of a daddy. So it's going to be very different set of challenges that we're facing. So
yeah,
anyway, back to our discussion. We're going to talk about Ho Chin Soon's map informations and stuff like that. One question I have for you, Ishmael, is that for developers or even consumers like myself, how can we benefit from Ho Chin Soon's maps? What kind of information do you provide?
okay. So let me share a bit. Even in the earlier days, more than 10 years back, um, my dad had this belief about giving out free information as well. It's
Mm,
not just about what you want to know. I'm going
mm,
to charge you, write you a fee, a bill you. No. So even more than 10 years back, we are also related. We are being put together in the sense that when they see Ho Chin Soon, they say, what's a freebie today? What is there something for me to take back? Is there something? So people in the industry, whether they're investor, whether they're developer, agents, valuers, etc., they relate us with free maps
yes.
because what we have been doing is that we produce some of the maps, we get them to be sponsored, or even we sell sponsors sometimes,
Mm,
and we mass print and then we give it out to the industry
that's right. That's right.
in the interest of knowledge sharing, and it's also part and parcel of our own branding. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how we contribute to the industry. Can you imagine you go to an event or even you come to my office without paying anything? You
Mm.
have a nicely printed A1 size map
Yeah, it's
that you can
A1,
take.
man. It's A1.
A1 size, yeah, A1. So it's 8 times of A4.
Yeah.
You can take several copies, some for your colleagues, some even for your prospect, for your agents, for your friends, for some of your business associates from overseas.
Mm,
And all that you don't have to pay because it's either been sponsored or we self sponsor.
that's right.
So we believe in providing back to the industry by giving them free maps.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is a paid version.
Mm,
Now the paid version, there's also different entry point.
mm-hmm.
So for example, if you are a property investor,
Mm,
most often we say, you know what, you just buy the book first. And the
mm,
book costs, let's say, 50 ringgit. You
mm,
go to Kinukuya, you go to MPH,
mm-hmm.
just buy 50 ringgit and you have our sharing inside.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, my dad, he don't enjoy writing, doing report 40, 50, 80, 120,000 for a client, but he
Mm-hmm.
loved to write books. He published and anyone could buy it for 50 ringgit.
Mm-hmm.
That is how he loved it.
Mm,
So for property investor, even if the simplest thing you want to buy, you can buy our book.
mm,
And then we have the more sophisticated maps that shows more information, land transaction, ownership, future proposed infrastructure projects. So all that has been tabulated.
mm,
We produce a map and you can actually buy those maps in hard
mm,
copy, soft copy. So bulk of our client are developers. So about 80-85% are all property
mm,
developers.
mm,
And then you have a lot of different corporate clients. So corporate
mhm,
clients ranges. Which type of business you can think of? Most likely we would have the equivalent in that industry bought our map.
mm. Okay.
So for example, like banks, we have a
Mhm,
lot of banks. For example, like F&B, we have a
mhm.
lot of F&B companies also buying. Uh,
Research companies, do they do that also?
research company, definitely. In fact,
Mm,
a lot of the familiar names in the industry,
mhm,
they do not view us have as a competitor because we are not. We provide the base map and they
mhm,
use it to provide further enhanced research work,
mhm,
which they then charge big fee lah to the client.
mm,
For us, okay, you just buy our map, our base map. We are happy.
mhm,
What you do with it, okay, I give you a very simple example.
mm,
Gamuda,
mhm,
Dutch MRT,
mhm.
the base map is ours.
Ah,
So
okay.
they buy the base map
And
because
then
it's already
they
there.
plot information in there.
And then they plot in proposed alignment one, proposed alignment two, proposed
Ah,
three. Should we
okay.
should we draw the alignment this way, that way? So they don't have to remap everything because we
Mm,
already have the map and then
mm,
they plan. So that is
mm,
Gamuda. So it's very easy to understand. Then
mm,
you have the UEM planning for infrastructure, highways, etc.
mm, mhm,
So you have infrastructure. Then you have people who do fiber optics.
mhm,
Where are the condominium? Because
mm.
that's their client base.
Correct.
Where are the landed residential? Where the taman?
Mm,
They want to whack all this market, right? So
mhm.
they need to strategize.
All right.
Some companies, in fact, a lot of agent. I'm not saying it's bad, but a
Mm.
lot of agency, the strategy of doing business is BBA.
What is BBA?
So BBA is business by accident.
Okay.
Ah,
Well, okay. I
so
mean, explain this. So how do you do this?
yeah.
What do you mean
So
by business
business
by
by
accident?
accident, you go for dinner, you met a friend with another friend, say, oh, you are looking for property. Oh, I'm an agent, business by accident.
Oh, okay, 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 okay,
That
okay.
just
All right.
chance. So and you'll
BBA.
be yeah, BBA, business by accidents. That is it works, it works.
Mm, yeah.
But in fact, you'll be surprised, Tim. A lot of company out there,
Mm,
corporate, they can be big, they can be giant. Their
mhm,
business model also a bit about BBA, business by accident. I say, yeah, gut feel one. And
mm,
then sometimes when they want to formalize or they want to approach it in a more strategic way,
mm,
that's when the maps come in, the different intel come in, the perspective
mm,
come in, consultancy, etc. So that's where we play the part.
mm.
Yeah.
I firmly believe we can do business by information. I personally feel because I I used to like sometimes get some of your maps, from property developers, and I start to input more data into those maps as well because that is relevant to me. I cannot remember how many people, how many real estate agents has been holding on to Ho Chin Soon maps and have closed countless deal using those maps. Property agents who sell projects in certain areas, those maps are valuable because you can tell what the surrounding areas, what the potential value, in capital appreciation and stuff like that. And these are very, very good information. That's why I have been holding on to Ho Chin Soon map since the first day I started real estate until.
Thank you, Tim.
I mean, there's no other map. There's not much of a choice, honestly, outside there. you know. So that's why you guys are the ones that a lot of us trust and work with. Um, do you Ho Chi Sun? Do you cover whole Malaysia, the whole maps, or all Malaysia?
Okay. So let me explain a bit. When we do our mapping, of course, we are very selective because
Mm,
at the end of the day, you can map out the whole Malaysia. So the answer is
mm,
no. You can
mm,
map out the whole Malaysia, but will all areas be of same interest to
mm,
investors, developer?
mm.
No, right?
All right.
So the areas that we map out immediately is Klang Valley, so which is
Mm,
Greater KL,
mm-hmm,
and then we have our Iskandar Malaysia. That
mm,
means it's not the whole of Johor, the southern part of Johor.
mm,
Then we have the whole of Penang State,
mm,
and of course another very interesting corridor, which is I would consider new,
mm,
is Negeri Sembilan, Malaysian
mm.
Vision Valley. So
Okay.
if there's request from either yourself as a host or some of your listeners to
Mm.
zoom in some of this area, we can talk a bit about them.
All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Can so those those few corridors that you mentioned, yes, I find these are area which is potentially growing. And in fact, later we can also share why these certain corridors are growth factor. What are the growth factors of these certain corridors? We're still going through the list of questions. Some of the questions are sent in by some of my listeners. Also, another question is like you have your maps, right? Certain maps that you print out, right? How often do you update your data in these maps?
Okay, so the updating is actually happening every day.
Mm,
So normally I just tell literally there's no shortcut. Every morning I have at least one person go through newspaper.
mm,
Any announcement, public listed company announce there's any launching, we would capture. That means mainstream media information would have been captured
mm.
and then go through Bursa announcement. So the updating, the collation is every day. Is hard work.
So you basically literally have one person full time just to do this job.
Oh yes, have to. Just to collect data collection. In fact, if we are talking about data collection, is more than just one person. But I
Mm,
give you one example, which is
mm,
every morning newspaper,
mm,
Bursa announcement, mainstream media, what are the
mhm,
announcement go through property related. So sometimes it's very tricky. Some news property related. Some news, for example, maybe that company is very big. They have construction arm. They have gaming industry. So something
mm,
happening in that industry, is it related to your? So some yes, some no. So you need
mm.
that expertise to go through, filter
Okay.
relevant one, put in the map. Not relevant, but is of consideration, put in separate file. Things like that.
Mm,
So that is part and parcel of data collection.
mm,
So that is in terms of data collecting. So how often do
mm,
we update? So for Klang Valley, actually we update every year. So that means you will have the 2019 version, you have the 2020 version,
mm.
2018
Right.
every single year.
Mm,
Iskandar Malaysia, we update every year as well.
mm,
As for Penang and Seremban, the Malaysian Vision Valley Corridor, we
mm.
alternate them. We
Okay.
alternate them. So once
Mm,
every 2 years in terms
mm,
of the hard copy. But actually the data collection is every day.
okay.
Sometimes we need to dig out, we need to do some consultancy work, we can
Mm,
refer.
mm,
But for Penang, Negeri Sembilan, the rate is a bit slower than Iskandar Malaysia. Now that team alone give you an idea where the developers are looking at, where the
mm,
investors are looking at. Uh,
mm. There are plenty of growth corridors right now. You mentioned about Southern Corridor. You mentioned about Penang. So these are the few fast-growing areas in Malaysia.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Now, I want to talk about Klang Valley, a little bit about Klang Valley. Now, or Klang Valley, or nowadays we call them Greater KL lah.
yeah,
The 10 municipal councils in Greater KL lah kan. Okay,
yeah.
from north, which is Rawang Majlis Perbandaran Selayang, all the way
Yes,
to the south, Majlis Perbandaran Sepang. Yeah,
yes,
correct. Okay, I got my
yes.
information
Correct.
correct.
Oh,
Okay,
not bad, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, geography not
So
bad. Okay.
yeah, so basically I mean honestly I've been using data from you guys to when I give talks to people about when I was marketing Cyberjaya, I've always been talking about the growth corridor or the growth direction of Greater KL always goes south. Okay, it's proven by the fact that the infrastructures, the highways, the MRT line, train lines are all going south. So much so that you hit Puchong down to Cyberjaya, down to Dengkil, then you hit Sepang, then very much close to Nilai and almost gapping up with Seremban already, right? So as the growth go downwards, right? You're talking about property value also increasing. Today, averagely, if let's say because I always look at like landed houses, average pricing for to consider affordable is about 500 or below, 500,000 or below. Landed property 500,000 below. This is my personal benchmark to say whether it's affordable. It may not be the government's one, yeah. Okay, it's
Yeah,
my personal benchmark. Okay, we don't talk
sure.
about condo because condo pricing is fluctuates from
Yeah,
200,000 can be to 800,000.
yeah,
But landed is a good benchmark. So those days people come to Puchong, you can get 500,000. I'm talking about brand new properties, yeah. Puchong you can get, then after that it becomes too expensive, cannot get it. Then you go to Cyberjaya. Cyberjaya you can never get. You can never ever get anything that is 500,000 or below. Then you go down to Dengkil. At one point in time, Dengkil was, oh, you can afford. But now, most of the entry level landed houses in Dengkil are about, we're talking about 600,000 and above. Okay, so you're going to go beyond, further south of Dengkil to really get stuff like that. So ultimately, right, people are going out and out and out of the central to go and find affordable landed properties. Where do we go from there? Where else is a place that we can still find affordable landed houses in Greater KL today?
Yeah. Okay.
What do you see?
Okay. So Tim, to answer, can I take a slightly different angle to answer that
Yes, please.
question?
Yes, please.
From a theory perspective, oh man, this guy's already talking about theory. But let me share a bit
Mm,
from looking at cities around the world.
mm,
If you are a town planner, this is what you call urban sprawl.
mm.
That means the city continuously to grow, sprawling. This is not a sign of successful planning.
Okay.
Now, why? Because at the end of the day, productivity, economic activity, you need to do business, right?
Mm,
And traveling time is an enemy to productivity,
mm,
because you are in the car, either you are in public transport or whatever, but you are in transit, you're wasting that 45 minute traveling to work, then 45 minute traveling back, then kena jam, then another 50 minute jam some more,
mm,
then you are late to back home. By then you already burn 1.5 hours traveling from work to home, then your mood not so good, then you fight with your wife, the productivity killer. So from a theory perspective, urban sprawl is actually not good.
mm.
In fact, I can even talk about some politician explaining how the Malays sell, then they go further and further. So it's not good. Okay,
Okay,
urban
okay.
sprawl. So urban sprawl is actually not good. So by right, you want to be closer to the
Mm,
city. Uh, but having said that, you of course have infrastructure coming in. That means
mm,
the city is not static. You have new highways coming in.
mm,
You have new infra coming, which open up potential opportunities. Let's call them opportunities.
mm,
So instead of measuring distance, okay, you are how many km from KL, or you are how many so and so km from city center. Let's measure based on time, traveling time.
mm,
So when we are looking at affordable housing, we look at the traveling time to the city. To
mm,
me, when it starts to exceed 1 hour, you
mm,
better have a good reason why you are looking at property in that area, because
mm,
maybe your factory or your office is actually nearby. You
mm,
may be staying in Bangi, but you're not working in KL area in city center. You're
mm.
working somewhere nearby factory, so that's fine. So that makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay.
So to talk about urban sprawl, we have to be extra sensitive, and not every investment makes sense to
Of
some
course, of
people,
course, of
right?
course, of
Right.
course.
So in an ideal world, everyone can travel to work back, and less than 30 minutes, 20 minutes. That's fantastic.
Mm,
So that's how I would look for from a property investment and also a planning of city. So successful cities, they can be very dense. Now, let's not talk about their quality or the space value they get, but successful city, you always realize that the economic generators, which are the people, to for them to get to one business to another city center, very very easy.
mm,
So cities that can do that are successful.
mm.
So if you want to compare different cities in the world, if you see a city is having massive urban sprawl and people from one area want to get, then that city is not so efficient. Not so efficient. So
Okay, but just for the sake of argument, right?
mm,
Centralization of city is also not very effective, right? Because then you will force everyone to, yeah, you know what I mean.
correct. Yes. So now that's good. I really love your question. So just now we were looking backwards, right?
Mm,
Uh, in terms of city, what if they're not growing? But then let's look at city that are really advanced
mm,
and are doing well.
mm,
What happened is you just use the word decentralization of the commercial component. So what
mm,
happened is, if you look, let's say you just go to Korea, for example.
mm,
Let's say you're not local, you just go there, and you are looking at a map, and you're trying to decide where is the CBD.
mm,
When you cannot tell where the CBD is, that means decentralization has happened.
Correct.
So we have, for example, like okay, the traditional Golden Triangle KLCC area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have also Damansara. You have Wanyu, that area. You have a lot of commercial activity, so it has been decentralized. And then
Mm,
you have areas like Bangsa South, Mid Valley, that area, so decentralized. So
mm,
if a foreigner come in the future, oh, it's hard. Where is your true CBD, your traditional CBD?
mm,
So that happens,
mm.
decentralization, because the productivity, the number of population is a lot. So that happens. So if you're
Okay.
looking, so if you're looking at buying outskirt as well, is very natural. The next thing you need to ask, okay, people staying here, where they're gonna go to work. So then you're trying to find where's the nearby
Mm,
CBD, in that
mm.
sense, commercial activity area.
Okay. Now, I want to lead my question to back to Greater KL, right? Now, just now we were talking about expansion. You know, the sprawling city is going towards the south, right? What are the
Yeah.
potentials of the growth going up to northern part of KL? I'm talking about back going to Rawang area, because Rawang has been an established township, but it has never had the potential like what the southern townships are like. Do you see in near future that that area can actually grow?
Okay, so what's happening over there is what we can say a natural growth is happening. So
Yeah.
let me explain a bit more theory. I hope you don't mind, Tim.
Yeah, good. I like it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So now imagine Greater KL.
Mm.
Down south, what do you have? You have Seremban City. Yeah,
Yes.
Seremban.
Mm.
Up north, where is the next big city?
Quite far off, right?
So let's say for the sake of argument, Rawang is part of Greater KL, right? It's part of Greater
Yes,
KL.
yes,
The
yes.
next area with populace
Mm.
is Ipoh, 2 hours drive.
Oh, I see,
So
I
so
see.
why has
I see what you mean.
the southern growth been very strong? Is
Mm.
because naturally, almost every city, when you have a big population here, you have a satellite town. Whatever is in the center, they're
Mm.
gonna merge.
It will, yeah, you
Yeah,
merge. Okay,
they're
okay,
gonna
okay.
merge.
Mm.
So if you're asking what's the potential of this area, but there is no satellite town, there is no
Mm.
nothing.
Mm.
What's gonna happen is natural growth.
Okay.
So it goes. So it will be slightly slower, but doesn't mean there's no potential. It is
All
growing.
right. All right.
But if there's a big population and then a satellite one, they will then merge. It's very natural. You look, even in KL alone happens. So last time you have KL, then you have PJ,
Mm-hmm.
and then in between, you go the next one. Maybe you go to Klang. Then what happened in between? Shah Alam all go up because you have population. So that's what happened. Traditionally,
Mm.
towns they merge and then they become metropolis.
Mm.
So what's happening to the northern part? So coming back to your question,
Yeah.
because of land prices,
Mm.
pressure to the south, the growth is very strong.
Mm.
So naturally, the land price is not cheap lah.
Growing
Let's
faster. That's
say
right.
not cheap, right?
Mm.
So developers are looking at other opportunities. So what happened is like Lata Highway, example,
Mm.
opening up potential to like Bandar Tasik Putri.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so some developers like Lawyat Group will then
Yeah.
benefit.
Yeah. That's right.
Correct. So these are some natural growth. Then you have Puncak Alam. You now
Mm.
what you see, you have a lot of developers there. You have people like, of course, IJM has always been there.
Mm.
Then you have people, even MKH going there. You have EcoWorld going there. You have KLK, of course, they've been there. Few players happening. I
Mm.
think 6 or 7. The last time I went for inspection, we map out a lot of development happening. So
Mm.
is there opportunity? Is a natural growth happening there? And of course, when you have a lot of developer, the good thing is that they are competing with each other. So
Mm.
investors go shopping, see
Okay.
who's offering what. You know?
I see. Okay, I'm actually googling as you talk, right? The Google Map, right? So
Yeah,
I see the nearest. Okay, probably we are looking at Kuala Selangor. We're looking
yeah,
at uh, Genting Highlands, Batang Kali, KKB, Kuala Kubu Baru, Tanjung Malim. So these are some of the nearer town, which is about an hour, 1 hour
yeah,
from these places.
yeah.
So I get what you mean. What we're trying to say is that the nearer the next township is, the faster the growth will be. In this
Yes,
case, what I see is now the Rawang part, which is near what you mentioned, all those big developers are buying those big lands. There's a couple of big developers that is developing township which is 1,000 acres or larger. They are
Yes.
focusing on next to Lata Highway, which is correct.
Yes. So as you open up maps, I'm just looking at mine. So
Mm,
the one that I mentioned, Bandar Sri Coffee, KLK, you
mm,
have Eco World, yeah, Eco Grandeur.
mm,
Of course, you even have not too far away. You have Saim Dhabi City of Elmina.
mm,
I mentioned Lawyat Group, Bandar Tasik Puteri, and a few others. Some are government-owned, government-linked companies are also here.
mm. So basically, to wait for the infrastructure to come up there, you have to wait for the township to grow, lah. But of course, right now the only public transportation that goes to Rawang is the KTM, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So high speed rail.
so so unfortunately, in terms of public transportation penetration
Mm,
rate, Malaysia is
mm,
still very low.
mhm,
We haven't even achieved like 30%. That means out of 10 of your friends, eight
mhm.
of them still using car.
Correct.
So the public transportation penetration rate is still very low in our
Yes.
city. But that's
Yes.
what the government wants to work towards.
Mm.
Provided that the stability, so that's a whole different topic. I think on your show you don't want to touch too much. If you
Yeah.
are, yeah. But interesting, Tim, when we do our mapping, right?
Mm.
Uh, love it or not, like it or not, we have to know what's happening in the political scene because policies affects growth corridor.
Of course. Of
So
course.
if you think back about Iskandar Malaysia, for example, allow me
Mm.
to just switch gear a bit.
Yeah. 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 Go ahead.
Iskandar Malaysia, right? We talk about Iskandar Malaysia. It was during Pak last time,
Mm.
and they had a vision and they proceed a lot of catalytic development, a lot of investment came in.
Mm.
So when you have a leader putting in the emphasis, that area will then naturally have
Correct.
a strong support.
That's
Not
right.
necessarily 100% success, but you know that the
There's a
whole
spurt. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So then when there was a change of government, then you look at Malaysian Vision Valley, for example, what's happening, Seremban. So all this each of their corridor, if we wanted to do even like a focus segment, 1 hour not enough.
Mm. Of course.
Right? But for today, I think at least for your listeners, is important to know which current state are government
Mm.
aligned state, which are opposition state,
Mm.
and that will affect their infra,
Mm.
right? So, for example, like Penang, they have been all these years like opposition state,
Correct.
and then for about 22 months, they became government state,
Mm.
federal government state. So then suddenly there's a lot of activity. I
Mm.
mean, fast track, and then now there's a change again.
Mm.
So question mark, right? Question mark.
Yeah. In fact, this is one of the reason a lot of like investment speculations and stuff like that, right? Finds it hard nowadays to be able to get more accurate information because of all these uncertainties. Put it that way. So that happens to local and also to foreign investors as well.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about foreign investors, right? I think we've covered quite a bit. Our time also not very permitting, so I'm going to just wrap up with some of the final questions. I've got two more questions. One question is okay in terms of Ho Chin Soon's business. Oh, by the way, we need to end so fast, but I'm hoping that Ismail we can do a part 2 in near future so that we can cover more areas, right?
If your
On
listeners want and you willing to host, I'll be
Oh,
happy
I'm
to
more
say
than
yes.
more than happy. All right.
Yeah.
So I want to ask one is do you foresee like Ho Chin Soon is going to bring your business to overseas in near future?
Okay. So the short answer, yes, definitely. In fact, in the past, we have many opportunities like Dubai, uh, Korea, in fact. But at the end of the day, Tim, as you are a family man, also you know commitment. If once you want to start a branch in a particular area, you have to commit. So yes, there's plan, but not when my kids perhaps a bit too young. So all that needs to be taken into account. But if I
Yeah.
would give you a
Yeah.
bit of insight,
Mm,
the next logical place for us, we are
mm,
actually interested in Indonesia.
wow. That's a
Indonesia, yeah.
big place to expand.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tim, do you see Indonesian's company marketing property in Malaysia?
No.
No, right? No, right? The market
No.
is so big.
Yeah,
Malaysia
they
is
don't
not.
even have to come here.
Malaysia is nothing to them. When you have
Yeah.
260 million population, what
Mm.
is 30 lah? 30 kecil. But this is part and parcel of business planning.
Yeah,
Logical
that's right.
is
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Now I'm going to ask one question on behalf of my son because my son,
Oh
I
wow.
spoke to him that I want to speak to you today, and he asked me to ask you this question. He says that, will your business be affected by, bigger guys like Google Map, or do you foresee like one day if Google Map finds that you are strong, they want to buy you, would you would you sell your company to them? He asked this question,
Okay. Yeah.
and my son is
Interesting.
16, by the way.
Yeah. 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 Fantastic. He's gonna be. He's a very bright young man. So uh, in fact, a lot of people also ask us about this question. So normally, when businesses, if they don't evolve, they don't change, that's when they die. They stagnate, they die.
Yeah.
Okay. Not trying to talk bad about other people's business, but Tim, do you remember once upon a time there was every time before you go to a friend's open house,
Mm.
you'll be sitting in your car opening a directory map.
Yes.
Hey, how
The
do
book.
I go to this place? Check use what
And
jalan,
that
what
that
jalan.
is a book that every real estate agent got in their car anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So what happened is that normally businesses die
Mm,
is not because there's a stronger competitor,
mm,
but mainly is technology change.
mm,
So if you cannot adapt, you cannot change fast enough,
mm,
and then you'll be swept away by time. For us, thankfully, whatever technology come in, we want to embrace. So earlier,
mm,
your question, are you a technical person? You see, it frustrates me. Sometimes I find myself to be behind the adoption curve of
mm,
technology.
mhm.
We always want to be ahead, to be the early adopters. But
All
being
right.
early adopters, sometimes you look like an idiot. People are, what the hell is he doing? What technology you're playing?
Yeah.
How do you even monetize some of these? Are you wasting
Mm,
your time? But that is part and parcel. Being tried to be early adopters to technology. So that's what we're doing. In fact, if I were to answer bluntly, number one, Google Earth actually have made our business a bit easier.
oh, okay.
In many ways, yes. And we still maintain ourselves to be relevant in the industry. So that's number
Mhm,
one. And we have a lot of interesting parties dropping by our office many times, and also I have parties even familiar names saying, Ishmael, why not we buy your company?
ah,
A lot,
okay.
but there's also a lot of different consideration.
Mm,
Unfortunately, time does not permit,
mm,
because if I were to share some of the things, the crazy things I do, I know that in return, perhaps in exchange for some bigger paycheck, I will have to forego some of those.
mm,
I love to do this. Maybe you work non-stop 3 to 4 months. Um, Monday, Friday work, Saturday, Sunday work, Monday, Friday work, Saturday, Sunday work. After
mm,
that, when you go off, you disappear for 1.5 months, 2 months,
mm,
that kind of thing.
mhm,
So maybe I have to really think about what's the next step. If you want to sell, you want to get partners in as a whole shift. So if you look at all our books, right,
mm.
our chairman, you will you will realize he have a lot of travel pictures.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a different kind of trade off, whether you want, or you just want to be your own boss in that sense.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I mean by pressure, because to be able to hold this company, because the way your company is going, I can see that it has a very very bright future, and it's still a sunrise business. What you guys are doing are still a very very sunrise business, and a lot of people still need you. You still provide the right value. That is why I think you guys gonna go far. You are like that behind. Is that a sunrise? I think it's a sunrise. Okay, now I have got one of my good friend here. He is a banker, and he has always constantly been supporting me. He's got one or two questions. I'm going to take this before we go. His name is Eric. This is one
Mm.
question: how does mapping help in the future, if we want to know the future transportation or new amenities development that benefit the people, you want to take this?
Yes, can. Okay, I'll give you one simple example
Hmm.
that a lot of people are not aware. Now, on our map, we already put in the information. So we are talking about amenities, future transportation. On the Ho Chi Minh map, we even already map out the future proposed MRT3 for Klang Valley.
Hmm.
MRT3. We
Yes.
show the alignment. We
Mm-hmm.
show the stations. So if you are a property developer, you are agent, you are investor, this information is so valuable. You should
Mm-hmm.
be you should be studying all 24 stations.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you get the information? It's actually public information, but Ho
Mm-hmm.
Chi Minh Research has already mapped it out.
Mm-hmm.
So our good clients, they are already buying our map, they are already studying it for
Mm-hmm.
future development, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but some developers also they are unaware. It's quite funny
True,
because
true, true, true. Some of the developers who are so future in terms of their foresight, right? They have be able to very effectively do development that the station is not even up yet, but they already know, and this really benefit these developers when their projects are completed. Yeah.
yeah,
So so that I think the information provided in the map is good enough for you to be able to predict what is coming on. I think the only layback is if, let's say, some of the locations or informations are plotted, but if there's a certain change because of whatever reason elements, yeah, that one
yeah,
can't help it lah, right? They can't help it.
happens, happens,
Okay.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, Eric has got one more question, because Eric, you are my good friend. I'm going to just take this with you. Is there he's asking if there's a book or 10 years development in the future. If there is no, I'm sure Ismail is going to write one.
Uh, Stay tuned. Our next book will be coming out. Don't worry. Uh,
That's right.
we will
That's right.
always be in the industry, God willing.
Okay, okay. And Sharon had one question, was does mapping help individual buys? Definitely, Sharon. In fact, I can answer for you. The maps that Ho Chin Soon has all the like he says, upcoming stations and stuff like that. So when you're as a buyer, when you know that there's a station potentially coming up, right? The chances of you investing in that area is high, because you know that normally value of properties are impacted by the surrounding changes, be it introduction of a new hospital or a new transportation hub and stuff like that. So of course, we're talking about main transportation hub. If there's a new bus stop coming up, please don't go and invest the area yet, because bus stop doesn't impact.
Tim, maybe before we end the session,
Mm.
I want to ask favor from your listeners. Two
Okay.
favors. In
Mhm.
fact, I want them to benefit in. Let me explain how. Number one, I think for because there's a lot of good question coming from your listeners, and I want them to be able to not just listen to what we just spoke about today.
Mhm.
Tim, at your convenience, you can either yourself drop by or you can send your agent to
Mhm.
come and collect all available free maps from our office.
Mhm.
When you do so, any of your listeners, they want some of this map, they can even go direct to you. So that means you
All
take
right.
it from my office at your convenience, at their convenience, whether
Mhm.
they are your friend, your business associate, then you
Mhm.
can pass to them.
Okay, this is
So,
amazing. Fellow listeners, if you're listening in, Ho Chin Soon, Ismail Ho is really gracious enough to share their maps with us. So if you guys who are listening and you want to have these maps, contact me, and whatever I have, I'll pass it to you. Yes, I'll share with you guys.
yes. Okay, we have many types of map. Now that's number one. Number two, if you are listening now, what you can do later after the talk is you go to hochinsoon.com, so
Mm-hmm.
our website. When you go there, the first thing you see at the main page is actually a number for broadcast. So that
Mm-hmm.
number you're gonna see is actually a personal handphone number, and that personal handphone number is Ho Chin Soon's handphone number. Yes, is he himself. Okay, so go to our website. The front page you will see our WhatsApp broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
012 9513 550. Now you save this number and then you WhatsApp. You say, put me in
Sorry, 012 95
13
9513
550.
550. All right.
So you save this number, Ho Chin Soon. you WhatsApp him, you say, put me in, and now you are officially in his WhatsApp broadcast. Once or twice a month, he will send you some area pictures and property related things that he find interesting. Yes. Please don't text him, say, "Hey, is this really Ho Chin Soon? Can you take a selfie and prove that you do a V?" He get all sorts of funny messages as well.
You really, I'm sure you get those. That's why you can bring it up.
Yeah. So that is his really personal. Now, what happens if one day after a few months down the road, say, okay, I don't want Ho Chin Soon to WhatsApp broadcast me anymore. Just say, put me up, and it's done. Yeah. So I hope that give some value to your listeners.
Yes, it's valuable because I'm in that, I'm in that list. I received the maps from Ho Chin Soon, I think quite a while back already, and I like it because the map shows the certain areas, aerial photos,
Yes.
before, after, and I really like those information. Those are very good information.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. Thank you very much. Now, before we go, I still have some books to give out. I've got four more books. Now, it could be when you answer this, I'm going to ask you some questions. And this, if you can answer the questions, I'll give either one of these books. Okay. It's either this Kuala Lumpur 2020 and Beyond or the Kuala Lumpur Hotspot. Which one is newer, in fact? Kuala Lumpur Hotspot is newer or the 2020 and Beyond is newer?
2020 and beyond.
Okay. So you can, in fact, you can let me know which book you are interested in. I will give you this book. So I've got four more books to go. Four more books. Now I'm going to ask you this four more questions. That's right. Now okay. Let me just randomly, if from my memory. Okay, listeners, can you answer me? Ishmael Ho. What generation is he in the Ho Chin Soon business? What generation is Ishmael Ho in this business of his dad? Is he the first generation, the second generation, or the third generation? Can the first person answer me? I'm going to give you one of these books. Okay, is Ishmael Ho the first generation, second generation, or third generation in the Ho Chin Soon business? Sorry. Come on, I'm waiting for you to answer me. The first person to answer, I'm going to give you one of these. I've got four more books to go. Four more books to go only. So come on, give me an answer. Anyone, if you're typing in, quickly, come on, let me know. What generation is Ishmael Ho in this Ho Chin Soon research business? Is he first generation, second generation, or third generation? They're typing. I think it's a bit lagging. Imran Clyde says second generation. All right, congratulations, Imran. Luckily, you didn't say third generation. Then you'd be like wondering where is this.
Third generation in the room sleeping.
Okay, Imran, congratulations. You are the first person to answer. Sharum, Eric's, Waila, you know he's not the first generation. You playing a fool, right? Okay, thank you very much, Imran. You got it correct. You can let me know which book you want later. I'll just send it over to you. Okay, now now the next question. I've got three more books to go. Three more books. Now I'm going to ask during the presentation just now, Ismail mentioned about a couple of growth corridor in Malaysia that they are focusing, because basically the map is not like the whole Malaysia, right? There are certain area they are focusing. Can you name me one of the area of growth that Ho Chin Soon is focused in, their maps are focused in? You guys, and for this you get a book. Can you, the first person can answer me one of the growth area in Malaysia that Ho Chin Soon's map is focused in? Okay, the first person can answer me. I'm going to give you one of these books. Okay, I've got three more to go. So this is the third last. Kuala Lumpur. Eric says Kuala Lumpur. Okay, I'm going to ask Ishmael to answer, to judge and see is that the correct answer.
Well, okay, technically that's correct. We do map out Kuala Lumpur.
Okay,
That is
Eric.
correct. That's one of it.
Eric's Ishmael say it's okay. For me, I would say Central, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, you got that. So that's the third book. I've got two more books to go. Now, let me just figure out. Okay, now, who can answer? How many children does Ishmael Ho have?
Ooh.
How many children does Ishmael Ho have? Guys, give an answer. How many children does Ishmael Ho have?
How many bundle of joy?
That's a challenging question.
Mm.
Okay, Sean says two. Ismail, is that correct or not?
Technically, there you go. Kaize got it more correct. Kaize is more accurate.
I did. You said one plus one, which is actually accurate. Okay, I give it to Ismail. Ismail, what do you say? What do you say?
Yeah,
You
Kaize
say
got it
Hadi is
right.
correct.
Is
Okay,
one
Hadi,
plus one.
book is yours. Book is yours. You are sharp, man. On point, man. I say. Okay, on point. Okay, so I've got one more book, right? One last book to go, right?
Mm.
Okay, one last book to go. Let me ask one question that I can think about. Okay. Uh, I kind of run out of questions to ask. Do you have a question that you want to ask, Ismail?
The best question is, what is the name of this live show?
Okay,
Ah,
good one, good one, good one. Guys, can you tell me what is the name of this show? I've never thought of that actually to ask for that
uh,
question.
I think all your future interview must end with this question.
Yeah, man. Okay, guys, I've got one last book, one final book. What is the name of this show? Can answer me. Waiting for you guys. Come on. Last one to go. Anyone? Eric's, no, that's not right. No, Eric's, that's not right. Heide, no, not that either. I know you are very nice, but that's not the right one. Come on. What is the name of this show? You see, the thing is, you guys are tak ada
Ah,
hati lah. All cannot remember lah. Why?
oh, oh dear. I guess Tim, the last book have to go to one of your good clients lah, huh? Not the
Oh,
listeners.
what my daughter? This is my 9-year-old daughter who just sent me what do you call that? What do you call this emoticon, right? So I
Emoji.
seriously, her emoji, right? I don't know how to do this kind of emoji. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah. So, so that's the generation gap, Tim.
Seriously, I don't know how to do that emoji. Guys, you haven't answered me. What's the name of this show? It's actually on my screen, on the top right corner of the screen. Guys, one last book. Nobody can. If not, I'm going to keep it. Ho Chin Sun Show. My goodness. Sure, I think next week we change the show lah to Ho Chin Sun Show lah. Okay, lah.
Sub the logo on top.
Yeah, I still don't have. Come on. If not, I'm going to keep the book already. Come on. The show is on screen. I'm actually keeping Ishmael here. Eric's got it. Where? No, it's not right. It's not right. Eric didn't get it correctly. Accurately, what is it called? My daughter says getting to know Ishmael Ho. Actually, in fact, that is not wrong. Today's show is called My Property Place Getting to Know Ishmael Ho. Technically, that's correct. Shall I give the book to my daughter?
Oh,
I'm gonna take it.
that's a good age to start.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take this and pass it to my 9-year-old daughter. Hey, but she can read. I'm sure she can read. Let me explain the book to her. All right. Thank you very much, listeners, for listening in. You guys have been great and very sporting. And I like to thank Ismail Ho again for your gracious time and to spend with us. You know, really, really awesome to have you. But I look forward to part two of this show where Ishmael will.
Cheers.
I like to dig into his more of his dreams and what he wants to do and stuff like that. That's going to be
Sure.
awesome. All right. Today we
Maybe
really yeah. Sorry.
for part two we have to lift off the bed a little bit on controversial topics. Then you can.
Hey,
Then you
that's
can.
exciting, man. That's exciting, man.
Uh, yes.
Okay.
Today I held back the
Getting to
bullets, the
know everyone
punches.
first, you know,
Uh,
pretend to be shy a bit, right?
is it?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, guys, again. And this is My Property Place live chat. This is the name of my show, My Property Place live chat. And this is Timothy, and this is Ishmael Ho. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again next round. Right? Thank you,
Thank,
and bye.
thank you. Cheers.